All right, all right. We are here. We are live. Welcome to the visual cast. I'm your host, Alon Hammer, aka Rem. Let me know if the sound is good. It should be good. But if it's too low, just let me know. Thank you all so much for joining. It's so nice to have such a nice community building, and the support that you guys are showing for the channel means so much. Really, really, really helps us, and helps us get bigger and cooler and more interesting guests, and helps us continue our live streaming once a month. So your support is much appreciated. Thank you so much. And for those who cannot afford to join us, then I hope you enjoy the recordings of the live stream. And I am trying to get back into a weekly schedule, and should be we have some really nice episodes coming in the next few weeks. All right, so without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest. Super cool dude. I really enjoy talking to him. I enjoy looking and watching his progression and his Instagram, basically, just being able to follow him and kind of live vicariously through him. Welcome to the podcast again, Jascha Suess.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Thanks for coming on, dude. It's been a little minute since we last spoke. But you know, you haven't slowed down at all. You're always just full blast, just doing the coolest, interesting stuff. And yeah, I kind of, I wanted to kind of talk about a few things. I think one of the things that I really wanted to show, which I thought was super cool, is this symphonic Red Bull Symphony that you did. So I'm just kind of play it over here, and as we kind of go, get a little bit of a context of what actually is going on here. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was a fun one for sure. It was super cool. It's a project that started like a year ago, and it was probably one of the projects, like the single projects that I worked on the longest. Because it was like really the process of over 1 year of like planning and creating all the content. And the cool thing is that like the creative director, who was also in charge of the whole film and movie that you're watching here, like also did creative direction for the visuals, which really, you know, nicely combined the experience. Because sometimes you have like the people for the live show, like the lighting, visuals and everything kind of running independently from the camera stream, but here everything was just like really taken into consideration, and was super cool to like have a concept through the entire show and every song. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to work on that one. And the concept was like, I mean, first of all, the musical concept was quite wild, because it was like combining Johann Strauss with drum and bass. So they took like the songs of Strauss and combined them with the songs of Cameron Crooked with the orchestra. And then we had like the full set list beforehand basically, and really thought of like a world and a visual for each song to dive into.
It's so cool. I mean, it's like, you know, anytime you're gonna mix electronic music with symphony, I'm all for it. You know, it's just such a fun thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so the funny thing is they already had a Red Bull Symphonic a couple of years ago, where they orchestrated their songs basically as an orchestral version, which is like way easier than kind of doing this mashup of,
right,
you know, a different composer's music with your music, which is like completely different tonalities and everything. So
totally,
even music was like a huge challenge, but it was just so fun to bring all these elements together, because there was like singers, there was orchestra, there was...
Is that physical, that statue? It's physical,
yeah,
statue, yeah?
Yeah, we had
sorry.
Then we had... Oh, good. We had the LED wall, and then we had this physical like bust of Strauss on stage. And it was actually like made of a material that, well, it was gold, but what we did was I masked out the area behind the LED screen and turned only that part of the LED screen to like 100%, so it could light it up from the
back?
inside. From the back,
Oh, that's
and so it was
cool.
this kind of concept of like when it's lit up front, like here, it's more for like the classical parts where you have it in like the golden tones and everything. And then once you get like the drum and bass coming in, then it's lighting up from the back and gets this very like surreal, like more kind of digital aesthetic. So
I like this. Some Gaussian splats.
Yeah, that was actually a Gaussian splat of the location itself.
Oh, cool.
Fun. So we did like a little, you know...
Dude, how crazy is that we live in like a time like that you could just like scan the place that you're about to play in, like pretty easily too, you know, and just like get it into it. So crazy. It used to be at the like photogrammetry and process and that, and now it's like click, done. Crazy.
And with such an interesting aesthetics as well. Like I love the Gaussian splat, optics, and like all the artifacts. And yeah, this one was like combining laser with the LED, which we also did for one of their shows before. And yeah, it was super fun to like. I got the plugin for Pangolin, like for Beyond the laser software.
Nice.
There's a plugin for Cinema 4D.
Oh, sick.
So you can like create the cinema scene and then define certain objects in the scene that should be
laser
created by the laser. Yeah.
Huh.
So in this case, it was like the ring. The ring was kind of the emitter for the particle system, as well as the source, like the laser, the laser source, basically.
Wow, that's so cool.
So then you can like create this whole timeline for a song and export it for both like LED and laser, and then just
play it.
Both up time code and play it live.
Interesting. Very interesting. So this is not real time?
No, it's not real time. The whole show is actually timed because there's so many components.
There's so many components. Yeah, of course, of course.
Like with the orchestra
Yeah.
and
No, it's too much. It's too much.
it has to be like all. It was actually the first time I did like a show where the whole show was like one video clip, which was great.
Was it all time coded? Was it all time coded?
Yeah, the entire show.
Interesting. And you're time coded to the DJs, to like the electronic
Well,
stuff?
they have like they have like Ableton live set running in the background that is also running like a time code, and then it's kind of like fixed at what point which track comes in, you know, and that way it makes it possible or easier, well, possible for the all the parts like the orchestra. They got a click track, so they know
that makes total sense.
timing,
Ooh, wow, look at
and
that.
then all
Beautiful.
the drummers and the musicians, the singers, as well as the visuals and the lighting and everything. So
Super cool. I mean, I love, it doesn't, generative is generative. It's not a,
no, I mean I had
it's time
lots
coded.
of fun in the process in like creating it, and then you get to watch it.
Yeah, you just kind of sit there and babysit.
'Cause I had the bust, the LED screen, and then also the booth, the DJ booth was also like LED strips, so I was also controlling that from Resloom. So it was a little bit of like just taking care that everything is also
Working.
proper working, and the brightness is balanced for the camera. Like a show like this is more of a TV
Showcase
set,
or
almost,
something.
like a
TV
TV
set.
show.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
you really have to have everything perfectly matched
Dialed
in camera,
For sure.
dialed in for the camera. So yeah, always
And
interesting
did-
with these kinds of shows because it's like a bit different of tuning it for the actual like live audience. Then you would usually probably go a little bit brighter with the screen and stuff like that. But here it's
For
like
sure.
proper balance.
Did Red Bull like get involved at all in terms of like the content, or was it kind of
We had
like
so much freedom, was really amazing. It was really
Freedom, huh?
like just do it, and they they loved
Fractals.
the fractals. I really like was like all the tricks of the of the
get it all in there?
put it all in there, like some touch designer, some cinema, some fractals, some laser
Okay, dude.
mapping.
All right. Sorry about that, peeps. We will not do any copyrighted audio, and this is a good reminder that we need to find a new home outside of YouTube. But oh, I need to do one more thing to get the stream chat in here. Just give me one more second. I need to delete this one. And YouTube video ID, here we go. Okay, activate, and we should be good. Okay, should be good. Just test this one more time. Testing one more time. Cool. Okay, we're great.
Awesome.
Are there air signs, or are you hallucinating? I'm not sure. Are there? Do you hear any air sirens? I don't hear any air sirens.
It looks it sounds like your computer. Is it like?
Oh, it's my
Like
computer just
going?
it's overloading. It's funny. I actually turned it to like 50%, but I think one of the fans is not on my curve, so it's just like all the fans are at 50, and that fan is like ah.
Oh my god.
All right, maybe I can get it in here. Okay, so sorry about that, but we are back. We were just kind of wrapping up Jascha's really awesome symphony, and I kind of wanted to just chat with you a little bit about some of the other stuff that you kind of been doing recently, which is your K&D tour. You've been kind of like on a pretty constant tour with them. You were on a tour with them last time we spoke, but you're just kind of always on a tour with them, I guess.
Yeah.
You're their main dude.
Yeah. We have like a good
A good relationship.
collaboration, and relationship going on. So it's really nice working with them. Like super collaborative process, super fun. And yeah, it's funny because like the last time that we spoke, it was like we were, I think like just a couple of weeks before the first show of like the recent tour, which was the K&D Sessions live. So basically their like most famous album from the 90s as a live show with a band.
Wow,
And
they're like super OG, huh?
Yeah, for sure. They were like
That's
some of
crazy.
the pioneers in like electronic
Techno
music,
scene.
and
That's
especially
crazy.
the smaller like down-tempo electronic music. So it was like while this whole techno thing was going on, they were like, well, you could also go a bit more like down-tempo and a bit more groovy on the stuff. And yeah, they were like super big in the 90s, and it's crazy that it's like still like most of the people coming are like really the fans from like the times where it's like this nostalgia and this so it's super nice to to be able to like tour with them. And again, like as I said, this show was like a bit different because usually it's more of a DJ set live show thing where it's the two of them on stage with like a screen behind, but for this one it was the first time for them as well playing live with a band, like playing those actual electronic music records as a actual live performance with a band. So even for musically it was like this crazy process of they produced this all on the old like Atari
What? Like old synthesizers?
the old synthesizer and the old computer, and they recovered basically all the like audio tracks from the old Cubase projects basically. So
Wow.
it was like really like opening
Crazy.
up this super old project and then
Old
putting out, like,
stuff,
the
old
individual-
stuff.
Yeah, super old stuff. And it's crazy that stuff still opens, If you think
Yeah.
of now, like opening a project file from I don't know, like Premiere or
Chords
After
Composer
Effects,
or
like
something.
10 years-
Like,
yeah,
you know,
would
like-
probably not even be possible. Because like
probably not. Like
Yeah,
an
no.
old version of Premiere? No. No, you'd have to like
I mean,
get
like-
an old version of Premiere.
exactly. So
And then might not even install on Windows 10 or 11, Like
Yeah, exactly,
yeah, it's pretty
exactly.
crazy.
and the old stuff still opens, like it's never changed because it was never online. So yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, like that way they got like all the tracks, and so they could get the actual tracks that take them
stems.
out, so the band could the stems, so the band can play instead of them. And then also visually, we realized that we need some different concept because there's so much going on stage that we kind of have to get the screen or the visuals somewhere else, basically. Especially because the first show was in the Philharmonic, the Elbphilharmonie in Hamburg, like this round 360 show, like venue, basically. And so the idea was to have this pixel matrix, this LED array,
Like the
above them,
volumetric one.
the volumetric, the volumetric array floating above the whole band, because they would stand in like this 360 setup, and then we would have the array in the like floating, basically. And so that was the whole like initial idea, and yeah, it turned out really great. Like from the initial planning to the final outcome, it was so nice to actually be able to translate that.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, I could show you some of the
Definitely.
like, first
Please.
renderings, like the first drafts. I have them open here on my like
Sure, let's jump
keynote
in.
thing. So if we can jump in here,
Check it out. Nice.
you see
Oh,
it?
cool. Yeah.
So that was kind of like the initial stage, like the first stage of my attempt to doing like a previs. I just did it like in cinema. So that was kind of the setup for the band in the center, with them at the very center with the table, and the LED array above that. But then also, because the old cover, like the cover artwork from the original album, is a picture of them in a sunflower field. We wanted to reference that as well in the show.
Like recreate
And
almost.
Recreate, kind of do like a little homage, on the original, on the album cover. And so we brought this, the pretty, I think like 600 sunflowers, like plastic sunflowers basically that we went on tour with and always placed in like the middle of the stage. So they were kind of
Really?
standing in the, in the
That's so cool.
sunflower field.
I
It
didn't.
was-
I don't think I noticed that from the videos. That's so interesting.
no, it's something that's even more special like on location, especially when you come in and you just see like the instruments and a bunch of sunflowers and you're like, okay,
Sunflowers. That's so crazy.
that's different. You know, it brings a nice organic element to the whole show, especially when you have like this very, you know, alien kind of digital object floating. And then you have the sunflowers on the ground. It's a nice contrast as well, I think.
I must say this:
And,
the LED volumetric volumes, like, it's very hard to explain what it feels like in real life versus like videos. Like I got to see them. I was in Berlin like a few months ago, and I got to see like they did like a showcase. You know, that the company that makes one of the companies that makes one of these volumetric,
right?
LED Pulse, yeah. And and you kind of just like walk in and they're just so big, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that they kind of like emit light and the way that they're like so 3D. It's so cool. You really have to see it in person. To, like a video doesn't really do it justice of what it does, you know.
For sure. Exactly. And actually, wait. Let me just see if I have a picture. I forgot to put that in the thing here, but should. Oh no, I don't have it here yet. Well, anyway, just wanted to show a video of the show in Hamburg because I was the first one, and you can see it a bit better the sunflowers. But here I have one of a view that I made, and most of the shows were like in these concert halls, so really like opera houses and stuff like that. So it was very interesting to bring that sound and that kind of atmosphere in there. And so that was what it looked like, and yeah, that's like the first song that the array actually came in.
Nice.
And here it's
I do see
actually
sunflowers there.
yeah, for sure. It's an unfortunate perspective because it's actually much more like three-dimensional if you're a bit more on the side, because from the front it looks very flat, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can still
Well, it has
sense
like
the-
depth, but it doesn't have.
yeah.
That's the thing, is like you have to kind of almost walk around it to really get,
That's
you
exactly.
know, like, or even like just like move a little bit. You get that parallax a little bit all of a sudden.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the cool thing, that like from each position of the audience, it's like a bit of a different show, right? And even the because in the Philharmonic Hall, it was like even some seats behind, which is like usually, you know, like not a good seat, I guess, because you don't have the
Right.
front view. But in this case, it was like
Right, it
actually
was
a really
good.
cool view because you, or I wanted to have like really a very democratic, like how would you call it, like the same experience, well, not the same experience from all angles, but I did produce all the content in a way that you would kind of see it in the same way from all the angles.
From
So
all
even if it was
angles.
like an object rotating, then it would like rotate to all angles and stuff like that, just to like
Interesting.
take. Whoops, that's
We have a
Nope.
we have a question here from
Yeah, sure.
Sarah. Was it a 5-point sound system? Like, was there you know, some
that
sort
would be
of,
cool.
three-
No. It was like
360
it was like a stereo sound. Yeah.
a normal
Because
normal
the-
sound?
Yeah, normal.
I guess that
And-
makes sense. You're kind of also like you're only. It's still. It's not like 360, right? It's almost like a 180 in some way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's still, for most of the audience, it's still like a very frontal setting, you know, like the music
Yeah.
is coming from the front. So
For sure.
I don't know if that setup would make too much sense, but would have been cool to integrate that as well once, because we're already in this kind of 360 setting. Yeah, that's right. And this was, in fact, all of this was completely live. So it was all running in Touch Designer. And also I had like no form of audio reactivity. It was all just me like pressing buttons.
Well,
So-
that is. You are the audio reactivity, right?
Exactly. Well, I prefer that most of the time. It's like create kind of an instrument, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just super fun because like each of those triggers is like just me playing my MIDI, like my APC, and which like for a 1.5 hour show is at
Just
some point
tap,
like,
tap.
the lighting designer was looking at me like, why are you doing this? And I was
That's
like,
funny. It's funny. Like, the
fun.
lighting designers usually the guys who are doing that also during the shows. You know, just like tapping the whole time. They don't have any audio reactive stuff.
Exactly.
That's so. But it is like an instrument. You know, like even like audio reactivity, dialing it in and getting it fine and anything like that. That's playing an instrument. But like there is something like that tactile. I like never, you know, like I always have like an OSC like iPad with me for like if my control system gets too intense or too intricate that I can't, you know, do it all on my MIDI. But that tactile turning a knob or pressing a knob, like there's something to that you just can't really get any other way. Sure. You know, and the way it looks and the way it feels is kind of inside of that feeling. Oh, I love that one. Super cool.
Yeah. Well, and you're also like becoming part of the band in a way, you know, because you're like also feeling that form of life playing. And since the whole show was like called Live, you know, Sessions Live, I thought, well, might as well, you know, also do everything live. So
for sure.
So that was fun. And then I kind of kept this a bit more pictographic or like the concrete images for like the end. So in the end we had this kind of dancer figure going on,
like
and then
less
also,
abstract.
Yeah. So the beginning was mostly like very abstract and like noise stuff and shapes. And then in the end we had this this dancing figure, and then also I did 3D recordings with this phone app, like of all the band members, like what's it called, Record 3D on the iPhone, where you record video with the lidar sensor, and it basically gives you it gives you like a depth map. So it's actually just, you know, like a black and white image of the depth map.
Oh wow, that's so
cool.
Wait, spits out a depth map?
Yeah.
Like a video. Wow, that's so cool.
It's a video depth map, super cool.
That's
so you can use that, you know, in Touch Designer as a displacement, and then it gets 3D. And that's what I use. Yeah, exactly. What I did here. So, and in fact, like it really looks like it's if you time it right, you know, it looks like it's actually live, which you could also do. Like it allows you to stream an NDI signal of the depth map live, but in this case I would have had to install like 6 iPhones with like NDI streams, which would probably be a bit overpowered for like a short sequence in the whole show. But it would be interesting to explore that at some point.
Definitely, you should check out Pretty Lights. Eric Mincer and Jack Hurley, they do a really amazing like live point cloud system. They got they have like I think now it's already like changed, probably even better, but they had 8 connects in a mesh all around like the band. So they would have like almost like a 3D representation, and they would fly through it and like, you know, go around. Nice. Very cool, but super intricate to do, and very it's an aesthetic, you know what I mean? It's like that's the aesthetic of the show, is like these point cloudy kind of like vibes, you know?
You use it as a concept and then you stick to it, like
the you know what I'm really noticing about this show, that the lighting is so cool. Like the lighting rig and setup is just like so, you know, complementary. Is that a word? Complementary? I'm saying it wrong.
I don't know.
Complementary. Thank you, sir.
Dankeschön. No. Gerd is the lighting designer, and he's also amazing. So he's also touring with us, and like we're all touring together doing the whole show. So it's really like visuals and lighting are always kind of
big
part and planned out beforehand. So we really predefined it for like all the songs, the like color theme and the dynamics. And then there's some parts where we say, okay, well, this is gonna be like more of a lighting solo. Like we had we just sorry. if I click, like if I miss the timeline, then it always goes to the next one. So this was actually just lighting.
And on the LED array.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's actually just the lights, which was interesting because for all the tracks, he really had to watch out to not get into the rig, like into the
Right.
fixtures,
Breaks the effect, right?
to break the effect. But for this one, we said like, hey, let's actually just embrace it and go in and look really trippy, because you couldn't tell if it's actually the LEDs
visual
lighting
or
up or.
So you
or
just took a
visual.
break. You're like, I'm taking a break for a second.
Yeah, exactly. And took a break. Then we had one where it was the opposite, where it was like, okay, here we're gonna go like this one, all the lights off, just the visual, and then it gives it even more effect.
Focus, yeah.
So even more
Super
focus,
cool.
yeah.
I love it.
And I love shows like this where you can create a bit of a narrative and dramaturgy throughout
Drama?
throughout
Like
the show.
drama?
Like
Drama?
drama. Well, yeah, narrative is already the.
Okay, narrative.
Like just
Jascha, when you go on tour with something like this, is it
Uh-huh.
was this a one-time show, or was this like a full-on tour?
Yeah, this was like a full-on tour, so it was really about planning on once we had the setup ready on how to actually play it across different venues
Do it
in
again.
Europe.
Yeah.
So in this case, because also all the band equipment had to be transported anyway,
Mhm.
there was basically a truck touring with us that brought all the equipment and the lighting rig to all the venues. So yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What is this? This is the UV
Um,
of the.
This is the
rigs?
UV map. Yeah, this was kind of the a bit like behind the scenes of the process was like basically on top you can see the 3D array, basically the original, and then I would just recreate like all the points in Touch Designer as like basically as lines for the individual strips that are then copied to a grid,
Mhm.
and then transform it into pixel space. So go from the SOPs to chops
Mhm.
to display it as data and then as pixels. So in the bottom you can see the UV map where like every point in space is represented by the color value, basically.
Yeah.
So
super
you
cool.
can kind of nicely see the representation of the position that
So
correlates to.
you made your own like slicer almost for this.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
You weren't using what they offer.
Well, I did use a lot of the ray decay engine.
Yes, the rate decay.
Because
Yeah,
once you have the UV map, then you can bring
It's
it
easy.
into ray decay,
yeah.
and then you can create this kind of volumetric 3D content. So that was
Amazing.
the perfect workflow. So ray
Shout out
decay was
Tommy.
absolutely was an amazing tool for this whole thing,
super cool.
and that was kind of the process. So here you can see as well, like for this figure, it's kind of the sliced up
Mhm.
version. So basically,
Nice.
just each one of the layers is one layer of video, and in the end, I actually played the whole show via Resolume. So I
Mhm.
created the content in Touch Designer, but I had an instance of Resolume running that would then just take this, video, and then via ArtNet I would map all of the pixels. So in fact,
so your output is from Resolume. Wow, interesting.
the output is ArtNet from Resolume. For me, it was just a
Wow.
bit more visual. Like, of course, you could do it in Touch Designer with chops,
Right.
but for me, it was just very visual to do it with the pixel mapping, like the ArtNet mapping in Resolume, because I would just like copy all of the strips, place them onto the UV grid, and have a very visual output. So even if something is not working, then I can directly see which layer it is, or kind of where the error is. I don't know. I just always like to have some kind of visual guide.
I get that.
But maybe I just
Also-
need to get into chops more.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, Touch Designer. You can make anything as visual or as not visual as you want.
Exactly.
But it's I mean, at the end of the day, if you're VJing, especially if you're doing like that beat matching and you want to be able to like have that, fluidity, then
Mhm.
Touch Designer, Resolume is gonna be a more fun thing to use.
Yeah. Well, again, the content was rendered in Touch Designer, and played live in Touch Designer,
But you're
and then I
streaming
was
it into
sending an NDI or a spout stream to Resolume, and the Resolume was basically just the output
oh,
and maybe like one or two simple effects. So the whole show
Right.
was actually Touch Designer.
but you wanted to have that that advanced output kind of view.
Yeah, just for the mapping, exactly.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. We have another question here from Sarah. Are Touch Designer and Resolume running on the same GPU? Yes, probably, unless you have 2 GPUs in your computer. A side note
Yeah,
of
but
that
it's
is
tricky though, right?
It
I
gets
mean, have
tricky.
you managed to like separate it?
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
The Touch Designer has a thing called Affinity, which is basically Windows. I don't know if it's an API or SDK, but it's like a Windows thing that you can basically force a program to open up on a certain GPU. So when you launch Touch Designer, you can actually, on shortcuts, you can give it like a little dash or whatever, hyphen, and then write a thing, like a expression. So in Touch Designer, you could do that. And in Touch Designer, there's a DAT called monitor, and that monitor DAT will give you, what monitors are connected, what GPU they're running on, and everything like that. So if you have multi-GPUs, you can do that. But the interesting thing about Touch Designer is that it's single-threaded, meaning it's always running on one of your CPU threads. So for GPU, not really relevant, but for CPU, if you have, basically virtually every modern CPU is multi-threaded. It has multiple threads in it. So each instance of Touch Designer, each program of Touch Designer is running on one. So you can actually create pretty optimized things if you think about how your threads are separated, or let's say like, so for instance, just like a small anecdotal, because I can go on about this forever, but if you have like, let's say, a very heavy chop system, because chops are CPU based, if you have a very heavy chop system, you could run that on one Touch Designer and then open up another Touch Designer to run the rest of your system. And then just the last piece of this information is Touch Engine, which is a way to run Touch Designer in other programs. So you can run Touch Engine in Resolume, you can run Touch Engine in Unreal, but you can also run Touch Engine inside of Touch Designer. So you could have one instance of Touch Designer running, but then run a Touch Engine inside of that instance, and it will be running on a separate thread. Okay, anyway.
That's interesting.
I digress.
That's cool. I didn't know that. No, it's interesting because I was just fighting with that problem because I reinstalled did a clean install of my laptop yesterday, and I just ran into this problem that I'm still troubleshooting. Is like, for some reason it was always running on the Intel GPU, so like on the internal one, rather than the Quadro, which is actually built in. And even with because you can change it in the NVIDIA settings and in the Windows settings, like for specific programs to actually render on the GPU, right? And I did change it on all of them, but it was still running on the internal one. So it's so really good to know. I'll check that out.
Check the Affinity, and then also Affinity. In Windows 11 they switched like the GPU, like what default GPU into Windows. So even if you change it in the NVIDIA settings, there's like a Windows settings that you have to change. Yeah, it's very exactly. Weird they did it. I don't know why they did that.
I'm still running Windows 10 because I'm afraid to switch to 11.
yeah, that's smart. Don't do it.
We have to, I guess.
Don't do it. I'm not changing ever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially for those video server machines that are offline anyway most of the time.
Microsoft said they're gonna stop supporting Windows 10 at the end of, I think maybe now it's already stopped supported, but I'm like, okay, so what? Like, what do I need? Like security updates maybe, but like that's not it.
Security thing mainly, right?
Yeah, but
so if you're online with it, and especially, I don't know.
Probably as long as the drivers still work, that's all that matters, really.
Well, and I feel at the moment they're more stable on Windows 10 still for most of the stuff. I don't know if you have a lot of experience with 11, but
I hate 11.
Yeah, exactly.
I really hate 11. My laptops have it, but my computers are still at 10, and I actually almost bought an old laptop because it had Windows 10 on it, and then I was like, that's a little bit too crazy. It was like I could have bought, it was like a money thing. So, you want to continue with the K&D? I want to move on a little bit, but
basically that was just that was it. Like that was just a slide of like the 3D camera that I was talking about. So that's the output of this Record 3D app, so I can
So
definitely
cool.
recommend trying that
Record
out if
3D.
you have like an iPhone with LiDAR, because it's just super. I mean, basically, it's a Kinect in your pocket, right? So super fun to mess around with. And
I mean, the fact that
yeah,
it
that was
comes out a depth map like that is so super awesome.
super cool. And you can record it.
Jascha,
and
have you
stream it in
seen the depth, like the AI depth?
Anything? Yeah.
Any depth workflows?
Yeah, anything, I think. Or well, there's a couple different ones.
There's
like,
a few ones, yeah.
Which one do you mean? Where it creates like a depth map of
From
the
a
image?
video. Yeah, from a video, and it's
Yeah,
and it's in real
yeah,
time.
It's real time, right? Yeah, that's sick. Where is it?
I'll post them right now. But there's TD depth anything, which is an internal touch designer derivative kind of branch of it
Right.
from Oleg VJ School kind of thing. And then also Billiam has a whole like paid little app for it that you can do. That's like a
Nice.
plug and play. Because the thing is
Nice.
that the touch designer one is a little bit annoying to install. Although in the
Right.
new version of touch designer in 2025 they have a it's called like basically you can run Python in a virtual space, in a virtual environment, so you don't actually have to install all the requisites and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's super nice. So this new this is the Patreon one from Billiam, which is I can't recommend it really enough. But if you are feeling brave and want to install the TD AnyDepth by yourself, I highly recommend it. And I'm trying to find the actual
I'll have to check it out for sure.
real one. This is the Oleg one. This is like the original one. It's a little bit annoying to use, but if I can find the branch of it, I can't find the branch of it. Anyway, yeah, it's really cool. It runs in real time. It is, it's not. It's like it's heavy on your GPU for sure. It's not like, such an easy thing. But you can process. You can render it and process it.
Nice.
Here it is.
Yeah, I'll have to try it out for sure. I was just thinking of depth anything because you mentioned it, or because it sounds similar, but that's like this new AI that came out that can basically reconstruct an entire 3D scene by like a very simple video. So it's basically like Gaussian splatting on steroids.
From a
can take,
video.
From a video, but like
Ooh.
any video, like not a video
Right.
that is, usually you
Like
take those videos very intentionally and walk around the room 3 times and like capture it, but this one is really like just take any like FPV view of someone walking around a building and it reconstructs the entire like interior layout of the building, which is insane.
Super cool.
I don't know if it's out yet, but they just did like a demo. Looks really exciting.
So cool. And we got Velomain is basically been using depth anything for a while now, and he just released a video with it, so definitely check out his Instagram. Yeah, I mean, it's just like the technology nowadays is just, it's wild. It's just exponential.
Exactly.
Talking about technology and stuff like that, you are super active in the education space with your awesome projection mapping and VJ workshops. Oh, we got a crazy touch designer logo going over there. Give us a little bit of information about it. Are you planning on a next one? I know you just did one like really recently.
Yeah, so I just had one actually. Well, I started this year and I had the first one in Vienna because I just wanted to test it out on how this would work, and it came across really well and it went really great, and so I wanted to continue in that, and I did a couple different workshops in Germany this year. The most recent one was this one actually in Frankfurt, because this is like, it's called AI Art Lab, and it's this pop-up space at the airport directly of Frankfurt, where they do they have a bunch of different art installations on display, also from Lake Heckermann and Benheim actually.
Nice.
Which are usually
Both.
displayed on.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Shout out to both of
absolutely.
those guys.
And they have this interactive installation, which is usually on display on this LED screen, that has Resloom running right now. And I also had the honor to display a little installation there. But when I got there to set up, I was like, this would be the perfect location for like a workshop like this, because it's dark and it's directly at the airport. So if people come from somewhere else, it's like perfect location.
They're right there. Yeah.
And so really, like in a matter of a couple of weeks, we set that up. It was quite spontaneous actually, but it was super nice. We had like 9 people coming out in the end, and it was like the recent ones I always did. It's a kind of projection mapping workshop, so focused on this concepts of like 3D projection mapping and getting an idea of what it means to like go from your content, which is mostly like 2D space, into 3D space, and recreating the whole 3D model and creating content for it in Blender and stuff like that. And first day was always like focused on Resloom, and the second day focused on Touch Designer. And I'm both using Blenders for the content. And also I brought these like little I 3D printed these little cubes setups, and brought some little mini projectors for all the participants, so you can get like a very hands-on experience. Because I think with projection mapping, you really need to do it and experience it live. It
100%.
only clicks when you actually start, aligning the output and getting the object onto the real world object. If you only see it on like a screen, it's hard to understand. So I think that really adds to the experience, and it's super fun to always, bring these like 20 little cubes and projectors and have like this little lab situation going on. So yeah, it was super fun.
It's such a great concept, and I really, I love education and kind of passing along the torch, but like the way that you're doing it is so cool, because I think we take it for granted when it comes to projection mapping. I think maybe because we're just so, the visualization is almost inherent, whether you're a 3D artist, whether you just done a lot of projection mapping, you kind of think that way. But if you're just new to it, the concept of like a 2D image from your projector on a 3D object is very confusing, especially like you're seeing it as a 2D thing on your screen, even though it's a 3D scene, but you're seeing it in 2D. The projector is seeing it in 2D. The object is seeing it in 2D too, but the object is 3D, so that you have that kind of like weird juxtaposition with the whole thing, and visually being able to like understand what it means to unwrap a UV, and understanding what even that concept is very powerful for beginners to be able to get that thing. And I really commend you for taking that to next. I remember when you first started doing, or you first announced the workshop with the little cubes and the Pico projector, I was like, I right away messaged you. I'm like, it's so cool. That's so cool. I love that. Because it's such a good idea, It's like it's such a good idea.
Cool, thanks. No, it is a lot of fun, and I always wanted to do. I mean, even myself, I always wanted to do this cube setup just because it demonstrates in such a good way, like the whole UV mapping, because you can quickly do a cube,
Yeah, cube is
and just
planes, it's there.
Exactly. So you can do it either in Resloom or in Touch Designer, wherever. Like you'll quickly have the setup for it, and yeah, so. It's really cool, and it's always it's interesting how it translates, especially to people that have never had any contact with projection mapping before, and that is the case for most of the people. So it's really like people from all kind of backgrounds. Oftentimes, some people that are already kind of in the event industry, but kind of want to get into projection mapping as well. But then like having Resloom on the first day, where it's like, okay, this is very straightforward. You have the interface, you have some content, you can put it on there, you can do the mapping, and everyone's like, okay, this is easy, And then you go into Touch Designer on day 2. It's like,
what do you do? Why?
It's like, okay, well, first of all, you have no interface. Now we have to reconstruct everything from scratch. But once you're there, it's actually a faster workflow, because like once you have the 3D model and you can do like a UV 3D projection mapping with like Cam Schnapper, and you actually are already working in 3D space, you know, it's just a bit more intuitive, because in Resloom you always have to translate from 2D. Well, Resloom doesn't understand 3D, right? So you're always working in 2D space.
Yeah.
And
but that's the thing is like, you know, when it comes to 3D in general, or just like projection mapping, or it's always 2D. You know what I mean? Like it's or I guess it's always 3D, but it's always it's always this. They're always the same. They're interchangeable. It's just like conceptually, you know, like
right.
At the end of the day, you're watching something on a 2D screen. At the end of the day, the projector is 2D.
I mean, is it? I don't know, because in Touch Designer you still enter the 3D space, right? So
true. You have a camera. You can look around.
Have a
for
camera.
Sure.
You can move. You can actually work on the 3D object, and only in the end you make a 2D image out of it that
for sure
fits your output. So
I feel like it's almost like the difference between, so you have a camera. When you look through the camera, you're in 3D space, right? Because you can look through it almost like your eyes. But the second you press record, you're flat, baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
The second you, I mean, whatever. I don't know. It's like conceptual, but like there's like that thing, you know. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to Jascha's set in a moment here, and I'm super excited because Jascha has some really awesome stuff to show us here. But right before we move into it, I wanted to kind of, you know what? Actually, I take that back. Let's move into your set now, and then after the set, we can have our conversation about experimentation versus performance. So I'll let you share your screen here, and this is definitely a good time again to say thank you to everybody here. Super appreciated for everybody tuning in, and any questions for Jascha or for me, feel free to write them here, and we will get them out there. And Sarah, thank you so much. We're being told we have good synergy, Jascha, so that's a good sign.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I always love talking to you. It's so fun. I love nerding out.
Bro. I know it is so fun. Okay, so we're gonna start your set here, and I'm gonna go down into your screen. So, ooh, look what we got here. All right, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, so actually the last time we spoke, I showed you this kind of interface that I built for the first K&D show that I had. So I needed, some kind of interface for a touch designer to actually perform the live show. And ever since then, that was kind of my main interface that I was using. So, for this first show, I spent like a month with a friend of mine, building this whole layout to play live. And ever since then I've been using this interface, even for the one with the 3D matrix, use the same kind of patch. And at some point I was like, well, it would be really cool to to get this out for people who have a similar workflow, or who just need, again, in Touch Designer it's a bit frustrating because you have to build everything from scratch, right? And especially if you just want to VJ, once you get your first patches going and you have some cool visuals, it's always, for me, was always the question in the beginning, how do I actually now play this live and have some control with MIDI and have a nice switcher between all the clips and stuff like that. And so again, this was my kind of solution, but at the time it was really still very rough. The interface was just, I would understand it, or I would be able to move around, but I knew that if I want to publish this, then I would need to do a lot of cleanup. So that's what I kind of spent the last couple of weeks or month or two on, to kind of take the same ideas, or take the base interface, but rebuild it everything kind of in a very clean layout that should work on all different machines.
Nice.
And
it's tough to do that.
And
especially in Touch.
Again, exactly. I do hope it does, actually, because I just released it a couple of weeks ago, and
Sweet.
I'm really
On
curious
Patreon?
On my Patreon, yeah. So this is available on my Patreon. And one of the main things was that originally this interface was just a visual representation of my MIDI controller. So I did the whole show with like the APC40, and so I had like, you know, the layout with the 8 sliders, the 8 rotary knobs on top, and then I mapped like 8 buttons 16 buttons in total. But there was no way to actually control it if you don't have a MIDI controller plugged in. So that's what I now did, is I connected this with actual widgets in Touch Designer. So now these are all actually, you know, UI widgets that you can control as well as just moving it with my MIDI. So now I have my Launch Control XL plugged in here. So I can use the MIDI controller, but I can use the widgets here as well. So it's just a nice way if you don't have a MIDI controller plugged in at all times. You can always use this as a backup sort of, or if you have like a touch screen. The only thing is like the whole widget system in Touch Designer is very performance intensive, unfortunately.
Yes.
So you can actually see like whenever you start changing some values here, like it's dropping frames, and that's only like the UI. Like if I do that on the MIDI, usually it doesn't happen. But yeah, it's some interesting stuff that I still have to do maybe some debugging, and I'm really looking forward to getting some feedback from the community of like how it's working out for them, because it's like my first time ever releasing a sort of tool or program, because so far I was always like more DJ loops and stuff. Okay, that's easy because it's just video clips. But with this I was really like nervous because there's a lot of parameters here that you can only get feedback on once it's actually out. But yeah, the way that it's all laid out is like you have an A deck and a B deck, so I can load in any visual here. So I just have like this example stuff loaded here, and for each either A or B deck you have these controls that you can see below. So you have like 4 knobs, 8 buttons, and 4 sliders per deck that you can like map to all kinds of stuff. Oh wait, it does look a bit dark and on the live stream, so let me just change to a different patch right here.
I could make it lighter if you want.
Yeah, maybe just like the original.
Is that better?
Yeah, looking good. Yeah, that looks good. So yeah, so basically like any of the stuff here, you can like rename all of the all of the UI elements according to whatever you want to control, and then you have the control with MIDI and with the UI elements. Then you have like a couple of stats here, like the FPS, VRAM use, the resolution of the patch, and then you can send it out via either NDI or Spout to get it into Resloom or whatever you're using, and then get it out from there. And currently, like that's the only way of output is like NDI or Spout, because the hooking up a second display, you would need like the whole interface needs to be one big window in Touch Designer basically, and on Mac it's a little bit tricky to implement, so I wanted it to be like cross compatible. So I'm looking at implementing that in like the next version to have that work out. But like as soon as your UI display and the second display are like at different resolutions, it starts getting a bit tricky. So that's one point that I'm still kind of working on. But the way that I'm using it is always like I have one machine for this Touch Designer patch, and then I'm sending it to Resloom, and then Resloom is always like the main output. Then there's also these like master effects at the bottom. So these can be applied like at the end of the chain. So there's like an edge effect, a feedback, just some example effects basically right now. So you can of course customize like all of that to whatever fits your needs. But in the end, this is just like master effects that you can apply to both of the, to the master layer basically. And then,
Super cool.
so super like simple, clean setup, not too much, like just the controls you need, I would say. And then, but that, always gets you creative in a way, or makes you kind of focus on, on your actual patch. Like if you don't have too many options, it's always good to get things done, right? Like, okay, you only have the 4 knobs and you only have the 4 sliders, so you have to figure out a patch that works with just these controls.
Yeah.
But that way it also makes it oftentimes like very playable, because you have to look, that stuff isn't interfering too much anyway, if everything is turned on, are you breaking it? So I think this is like the sweet spot of for my playing style, at least in terms of the layout.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the left side you have like all of the patches that you can load in. So these you can like create your own patches that you load in those decks, and then you can see like when you hover it's like either A or B deck. Then once it's loaded you can see this little square here, the red one, and you can actually not, it's locked, so you cannot accidentally like replace it, so you first have to clear it out here. So you can hit clear, and then it's possible again to load some new stuff in. So just kind of a safety mechanism. And then at the bottom you can see that it has like currently 10 pages, so you can switch between the pages to that was like one of the last steps that I wanted to do, because in the beginning it was always just like this 4x7, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grid, and I was running out of space on my show files because I only had this. I had all of them, filled out, so I started creating those pages, and yeah, that's kind of the whole interface, and I could show you a little bit of like behind the scenes.
Yes.
Of how it all
show us the node graph, please.
So, yeah, the kind of main area is this, or this is like the kind of route, where it's going like from the patches into the UI, which is then going to the perform window. We have the green one for control, which is like all of the MIDI stuff. So here is where the MIDI controller is coming in. And in fact you can MIDI map any controller that matches the sort of layout. In the file I have included a mapping for the Nano Control, for the Launch Control XL from Novation, and the APC40. So these are really like matched to this kind of layout, so I already did some mappings, but if you have something that's similar, you can map it, and this is the reference. So if you're in the MIDI mapping, I made this little UI window where you can see this is the numbering of all the
we just rename your
So if you're here in the MIDI mapping, right, where you do like this slider 1, so this is S1, which is S1 here, right? So then you would just move your MIDI to check the message and then fill in the message here, and then all right, that's
I never did my MIDI mapping like this through the the MIDI mapper. Yeah, I always do it with like a renamed shop or something.
Right.
Because it makes more sense to do it here, because then it gets saved, right? It's like saved for that device.
Yeah, exactly. It gets saved. It's normalized, so it's already between 0 and 1 for all the values.
Yeah.
And you just get a clean naming of like
I gotta do
S1 and B1. So then all the MIDI controllers become interchangeable, because as long as I have the same naming, these buttons stay the same. Like these buttons are always B1 to B8. So whatever you map here to B1 and B8 on your controller is always going to be this. So yeah, it's just very universal.
I've always forgot about that MIDI mapping thing, because sometimes you turn your thing on and off, and then it's like you have to go through it. You have to like turn each one to get back or whatever. So annoying.
You have to like move all of them.
Yeah. Otherwise your logic doesn't work. So I really should look at
that. You should definitely. But it took a while for me as well to actually use it, but it does make sense. Because then afterwards you can still rename it. Like that's still what I'm doing here is like renaming all of it. But then at least it doesn't matter which controller it's interchangeable. So it's nice. And then it's renamed, it's getting sent to the UI. And there it's combined with the UI elements, right? So it always overrides whatever is the latest value.
That's cool.
Because like, if I just go to the, what should I go in first? I guess the UI.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just the whole UI, and here you can see the MIDI controls coming in. So this is the chop coming in for the MIDI, and then it's being exported with a chop execute. So all of the values are controlling the widgets, so the UI elements here. So that's just matched, the name matches, and so here whatever is happening on the MIDI is also happening on the interface. And the same here, so all of the buttons, whatever, like if I move the MIDI now, then it's then that's moving it, and if I use the widgets, then it's overriding it. And at the beginning I was thinking of like doing pickup, so you first have to move your MIDI to the actual value.
Right.
But it was first of all, it was a bit buggy, and then it also, I feel like it's just more of an either or situation. You either use the widget or the MIDI, so it was just more stable that way, and I think it makes sense,
It's almost like you'd be using your mouse when you're testing or when you're inside of some sort of configuration, and then when you're performing, you're using MIDI. There was a small question from Sarah.
Huh?
Can you recolor the LED for APC40 via the MIDI mapper? As far as I know, no. I did put 2 links in the chat that have some Python scripts to basically you need to do MIDI out. And with the APC is a little bit closed source, I guess is maybe the right way to do it. Like 'cause it's kind of made for Ableton, but there's some hacky ways to do it. I've done it in the past. You can change the colors through Touch Designer for sure. It's like just not very easy. You have to like put in a bunch of hex values and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually one of the next steps that are still a work in progress here, is like the MIDI out to the APC.
Yeah.
Right now I'm using controllers that don't have any like feedback, so like the launch control, I could do something on the buttons, but the rest of it doesn't have any out, but I need to take a look at this MIDI out at some point, and that's kind of part of the...
It's tough. Like I've done it for the MIDI fighter, where kind of like what you built here, where you have like an either or situation, like either mouse or MIDI. So I have the same thing with OSC, where I have some OSC things that, so I don't really have it set up anymore, because it's like almost like the amount of processing and time for it to do it is like almost not worth the result. But I did have a situation where if I override it on my OSC, then on the MIDI fighter, the bar, the LEDs go up and down. But this is the stupidest thing. It's only visual. So even though like on the MIDI fighter it will have like 70%, the moment I touch the knob, it's back where it was before. You can't actually change the value of the MIDI. You can only like, so it's like, maybe you can. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I couldn't figure out how to do it on the MIDI fighter. I could only get the visual representation, which I thought was very odd. That it doesn't actually change the actual value.
But it has to be working for sure, because that's exactly what the Zero plugin, for example, does. So like
and the MIDI fighter is not a 0 to 1. It's infinite.
Right, exactly. It's endless.
Should be able to.
Yeah. Which is exactly the point of those.
Right. That you should be able to have that feedback back and forth. I know. I couldn't figure it out. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
super interesting, because a lot of this UI stuff is like,
it's such a different world.
It's such a different world, and it's really tricky, and there's not much documentation about it, which I find really interesting, especially in Touch Designer. Like there's so much, like the scene is really getting big, and there's a lot of people really active. but also in the development of Touch Designer, like I feel this whole UI widget elements, it's a bit old. I'm not sure when it was like updated the last time, but I read in some forums that it's like
years.
yeah,
decade
and
maybe.
that they're working on some like new, on some like general overhaul of the whole UI widgets, which is why they're not like really actively developing kind of this current version anymore.
There
it's
is, I don't know if you've noticed, there in the palette, there is in the UI palette, UI basic widgets, it's called, oh fuck, it's gonna be embarrassing if I can't find it, but it's called, maybe it's not basic widgets,
Well, this basic widgets, that's basically what I used here. That's exactly like all of these basic widgets.
In the UI, not basic widgets, just the UI.
Right.
Click on UI. Gal. Do you know the Gal one?
No. Yeah. I've seen that one before. Yeah, but
so
I forgot.
What's cool about this one is that it has this like double click to default, and it has like this nice range indicator. But I just like, I've used it a lot for building UIs because the double click to default is such a nice feature. It's like if you just drag and drop one of them, like any of them. Yeah, and now activate this one, and if you double click,
nice. Oh, that's super cool.
That double click is like, I love it.
Yeah.
And you could change all the default stuff. So like I've used this a lot, but like you said, the annoying part is that like if you go into the network of these things, it's so difficult to customize that it's almost like not even worth. It's almost worth building it from your widget. Like that's what I ended up doing is I took the code for the double click and put it into my own widget, but it was just like, it's like annoying that there isn't like just almost like a family of operators that are widgets that are like sliders and knobs.
Exactly.
I'm sure they'll get there.
Besides, the slider and the button.
So basic.
Super basic. So yeah.
And like visually, like to add like backgrounds and things, it's very difficult to like get them to look nice. I'm always super impressed when you see like a nice UI. You're like,
Totally.
How the fuck did you do that?
Yeah,
The amount of work that it takes is like so crazy.
Absolutely, I agree. But yeah, I mean, this one, it was fun, like figuring it all out and doing like all of the responsive design, so it kind of scales with the. Like it's all parented, and then this is always like, divided by the height and stuff like that. So it's all responsive technically for like change the resolution. It changes all of the interface with it, and then there's all the labeling. So like this is the labeling for the master effects, which is just a table that you can fill in. And then I have one for the individual patches, which changes depending on which patch you select. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. But yeah, I mean, basically that's like the main interface, because that's the buttons. This is the more of this info, stats panel, and the controls, and the selection is happening here, like. Whatever number you select, so basically if I clear this one and select the third one on deck A and the last one, deck B, you can see here that it's like number 3 and 28, and so that is then what is selected for the labeling for the parameters.
Sick. Super cool, dude. So this has been this. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
All right, and and that's just that was the interface part, and this is kind of like the main area that you would, build your stuff. So I created like a lot of blanks basically for all of the patches that you can create. This is like the first page, second page. So right now I just have like 5 pages of empty patches, and then you can jump into each one of those. And I'll jump into an empty one first that shows you a little bit. Oops, the fifth one maybe. So here, that's kind of the main building blocks for each patch. So you have like the MIDI control or the controls coming in. So you can just reference those wherever you want for like all of your parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the labeling for the parameters in the interface. So, now it's just rotary, sliders, buttons, and then you can rename those depending on what you're actually controlling. In here you can actually start building, so that's where you would build your patch. And then it just goes into this output, like this out node, which is the main output, and a thumbnail which you can then lock, and that becomes your main thumbnail. So if I go into a patch here, then you can see that the MIDI controls, are being referenced. I always use these kind of little templates for like speed or just remapping of values. So in here it's just always like, a constant with a math for the range and then a speed. So the MIDI is going in here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just select it so you can actually see something coming in. So yeah, if I change this, you can see that this is changing the value, and then from here you can export it to the parameters that you want to control. So this one is like referenced here, stuff like that, and then here, the actual visual stuff is happening.
Nice.
Just some simple like feedback. So
very easy to implement.
Yeah, super easy to implement your own like visuals, and just grab one of these controls here, remap it with those little like tools, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes into the out and a thumbnail, which you always have to like lock, because otherwise it's always cooking. So whatever's here is what's displayed in the thumbnail, but if you would unlock it, it would also cook it in the interface. So then all of the patches would be cooking at the same time, which would be very intense. And the way it's now is like, as Touch Designer is very efficient at switching and only cooking stuff that it currently needs. It's always only cooking the patch that is currently selected in either A or B deck. So the whole thing, should be very efficient. And yeah, that's basically it. Like that's where you build the patches. I have some like templates for this speed and value mapping here. So you can copy these into the patches. Some simple stuff for like audio activity that you could also implement. I mean, the whole thing, of course, it's modular, so you can build whatever you might need. In addition to that, you could easily integrate it into all of it. So, and that's just like, here's the post effects. So that's where all of these like master effects are happening with the MIDI controls, and then that's the master output and the siphon and the eye out. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Here you can define a global resolution. So like currently it's full HD, and you can always address the resolution with the modules.variables.resx and resy. So anywhere you are, like in your patch, like if I create a new noise here, for example, and I just reference mod variables.resx and mod variables.resy, it will always grab this master resolution. So just a neat way to quickly be able to change the resolution for everything in one simple step.
Super nice. Super cool. It's super nice to see the progression on this, and I think it's like, and I mean this with respect, but I think it's a big trend now to it's so amazing that it's a trend to make VJ softwares in Touch Designer. It's almost like because like I remember this trend being really big, like I don't know, like 7 or 8 years ago, where the trend was to make a media server inside of Touch Designer. So like, you know, you can run like a big show, like a disguise, like a timeline. That was like the thing. There was like 6 or 7 different flavors of like media server style kind of interfaces for Touch Designer, and they all kind of like almost went away. And now the big thing is that everybody's making like VJ tools, like how do I get Resolume in Touch Designer? How do I make my you know, Touch Designer patch run smoothly with different scenes? And it's really awesome to see. And I love this implementation that you're doing. I think it's really smart that you're keeping it simple and easy to kind of like jump into. Was there anything else you want to show us with this? And if there's any questions from the audience, definitely write them in the chat now, because we are running pretty late with our time, so we're gonna have to cut it down soon.
Right. No, easy. I mean, for me that was a basic overview, so I'm really open to any form of questions. But yeah, that's just a general overview of the whole thing.
Amazing. And definitely, again, check it out on Jascha's Patreon, which I linked down below, and I will link it again as well, if I can find. You know, if I search on Google Jascha Suess Patreon, your Patreon doesn't come up. It only comes up with yeah. It's really weird. It's like I'm scrolling. It's like nowhere here. I have to click on your website and then on Patreon. I don't know if that's like a setting on Patreon or something, but it's weird. It doesn't show up on the thing. Like your website shows up first. But you would think that if I searched Patreon / Jascha Suess, it would come up. Anyway.
Don't know.
So lastly, and before we head off here, I'd love to talk to you a little bit about. You were mentioning to me when we were kind of getting ready for the stream that you're working on this new experimental show with. I mean, I'll let you talk about it, but I thought it was super interesting because it's kind of like, you know, there's that kind of like I don't know, like dichotomy or like, you know, thin line between like getting ready for a show, performing, and then just kind of messing around and experimenting. And obviously they're like kind of like almost on the same wavelength, but they're like different things. But yeah, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Like, you know, what's that kind of like experience like for you, and how does you know, how do the two differ between experimenting and performing, and of course about the actual thing that you're doing.
No, for sure. I think it's like super. To me, it's a very important part of the process to have like lots of experimentation in the initial stages of any project, because I feel like especially when like events get bigger, people tend to sticking to like, you know, standards of you know, like industry standards of whatever, you know, hardware or software is always used, especially hardware, you know, like then it always starts becoming like very similar setups. And so I always love to just experiment with, well, technology, or even like not even technology, but just tools or materials or things that maybe are, you know, kind of bit unique or make it interesting to explore. And so, you know, no matter of course for like a certain scale of show, you need to stick to stuff, you know, like to make it reliable and safe. But that's why I also find these kind of smaller shows and smaller events and the underground very interesting, you know, because that's where it really all the exploration can happen. And you know, the same goes for music, right? Like the underground is where the whole experimentation is going on, and then the more mainstream it becomes, the more it's watered down in a way. But yeah, one of the experiments that I'm just like currently into is like we have this this upcoming party where in a small club where we want to install like a little kind of light installation, and I can show you some videos.
Yeah, please.
Of stuff that I'm experimenting with. I have it like on my Mac here.
Yeah, gonna go in.
So let me know when you can see it, because I can like once I switch, I can see it.
Right now. See it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I found this new, like, especially with LEDs. I was curious if there's any new, stuff out, like these kind of LED strips. And I found these on Amazon from BTF Lighting, which are one of like the main manufacturers of these kind of addressable LED strings, which is very interesting because it looks like a rope. It has this very like ropey
Texture almost, yeah.
texture. But inside there's an LED strip. Now, unfortunately, you can still see like a bit of the pixels.
Yeah,
picture
they're
ones.
not diffused, huh?
Yeah, I mean they are diffused, but it's still like the pixel pitch is very high. Well, high, low.
High, high. Yeah.
So, but still, like I find it has a very interesting texture, and there's a lot of this. I mean, there's a trend right now as well with these kinds of setups, right? From like Ausgang Studio and these kind of like dystopian cables, going around
into
the
one
room.
machine or into one thing.
Yeah. And I found this really interesting, but I'm curious if you can do something similar, but in a more like soft aesthetic, like with more of this actual rope texture, So instead of this like being displaying cables or being this flow of data or energy, it's a bit more of this kind of maybe just trying a bit of a similar but different approach, And so
Is your living room?
No, that's actually my studio.
Oh, okay.
Like my office where I'm working, and it's funny because like it can transform from a very clean like office space into the craziest like experimental lab in like a day. So yeah, that was one of those days for sure. And I combined this LED ropes with projection, so this was actually just that was actually also adding another part of it. We have this huge lamp through the office that's like super long, so I just built in some LED strips. But yeah, that's
so
like
fun.
super fun. Yeah, no, I love these days where it's just like exploring and playing around with some different stuff. And here I was like combining the LED lit strips with just some normal ropes, from the store, like, and then projecting onto them. So like the white lines you see here is actually just projection.
It's like a different texture aesthetic.
Different texture and just like straight lines from Resolume, but once it's once it unfolds in space through the perspective and the different positions, it gets this really like organic texture. Or this really interesting like dynamic, because they kind of move differently with different speeds depending on what the angle is to the projector, So really interesting stuff to explore. And then yeah, I mean I also tried it with like the kind of like fabrics and stuff, but goes a bit into like different concept there. It's interesting as well, but didn't really fit this type of thing, but yeah, I'm looking forward to like actually hanging this up in the club and seeing where we can get with that, because I think it really then just is a matter of placement and shape on how it will actually feel, But it's just a new, like as always, just for me like a new medium that I haven't worked with yet. So
cool,
interesting to explore, and then play with this interaction of okay, it's LED, but it's also projection, and then maybe to have the illusion that you don't know which is which,
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Look forward to experimenting.
Thank you so
with
much
that.
for sharing that with us, Jascha. I have 2 questions for us, and then I definitely need to bounce, unfortunately. But I could stay forever and talk to you. From Velomain, how deep have you gone into pops? And then he's saying like the new DMX ArtNet volumetric pops, etc.
Right. Yeah. The thing, I did like a bit of a dive already but when it was an experimental, and it wasn't real well. Super interesting, amazing operator. I'm really looking forward to explore it more. I just haven't used it in a show yet because, well, back then it was still experimental. So, and even now it feels like, now that it's ready, I didn't do any proper tests yet of like how stable the version actually is for like a show. But kind of starting to actually, well, in fact, I'm gonna use it for the first time for a show next week when we have the K&D show in Drumsheds. So I'm preparing some stuff right now, some simple stuff, and yeah, and also the DMX stuff is
exciting.
exactly very
Super
exciting, especially
yeah.
for this matrix that I showed before. That would be the perfect
for the volumetric. 100%. But even just for fixtures, just having that visual representation all in like one thing, it's not like a chop. It's so great.
Definitely. No, it's really amazing and very exciting. Like I did a bit of a dive into Houdini beginning of the year, which I got like really excited about because it was like also because already being fond of the touch designer basics and knowing that it derived from the same software originally.
Yeah.
It was really cool to finally like be able to understand a lot of the core concepts. And now with Pops, it feels like those two are really like coming together.
Closer. For sure.
Coming closer. So I think like
this
combination
and the way attributes work and yeah. It's very exciting.
Like
I mean, it's just like even just like the first versions of Pops, like the experimental builds and like how it's progressed is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
logo around, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jascha, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to the audience for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Definitely check out all of Jascha's works and his Patreon. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. We have another awesome live stream that I'll announce very soon. And have a nice weekend, everybody.
All right, thanks. See you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.